Time's expired. Chair now recognizes the gentlelady from New Hampshire, Ms. Goodlander.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to our witnesses for being here today. We have one really important thing in common. We all swore an oath to this great document, the United States Constitution. We swore that oath when we joined the military, and we swore that oath when we began the jobs that we're holding now. And I want to begin at the beginning of this document and at the beginning of your testimony, Mr. Hegseth. In the first sentence of your testimony, you said you're here today to testify about the fiscal year 2026 budget for the Department of Defense. You're required under law to submit this budget to the Congress because we've got the power of the purse, after all, by no later than the first Monday in February. Here we are in the second Thursday in June. We don't have your budget, as the chairman, the ranking member, and many of my colleagues on this committee have pointed out. You have testified that you want to be accountable for every dollar, every taxpayer dollar, and where it goes. We can't do our job without your budget. When can we expect your budget, Mr. Hegseth?
This is something every American should be alarmed about. The Department of Defense just failed at one of its most basic responsibilities. We're talking about the most powerful military in the world missing legal deadlines for submitting its 2026 budget and still unable to pass a full audit. Think about that. They handle billions in taxpayer money, yet can't clearly show where it's going or plan properly for the future. Meanwhile, countries like China and Russia are moving fast with AI-driven warfare, and our defense leadership is stuck in red tape. And then there's Ms. Goodlander, reminding everyone about their oath to the Constitution while failing to follow the law on budget reporting. Let's be clear, accountability isn't optional, and being prepared isn't just a talking point. If our top defense officials can handle the basics, how are they supposed to defend us from tomorrow's threats?
Well, as I also acknowledged in my opening remarks, in the first year of an administration, it does take more
Mr.
time,
Hegseth,
especially
please
while
reclaiming
you're
my
addressing
time.
the priorities of the previous administration.
When can we expect your budget?
You have details of it already, and you will have it very soon.
Can we expect the budget before the end of the month?
I would refer to Bryn, who's working that, but I know there are a great deal of detail that is already with the committee.
Okay, let the record reflect that you haven't given us a commitment, but you're required by law to do so. You're also required by law to pass an audit. That's been true since the 1990s. The Department of Defense is the only department that has continually failed an audit. You've committed to passing an audit in 2028, but we expect you to pass an audit this year and hope you will work with us to achieve that goal. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for your testimony and what you've said about the threats that—
Let's call this what it really is, a textbook example of bureaucratic dodging. When asked for a clear timeline on the budget, Hegseth couldn't give a straight answer. Instead, he deflected, mentioned someone else, and made a vague promise that it would show up soon. That's not accountability, that's delay tactics. And it only gets worse. The Department of Defense hasn't passed a full audit since the 1990s. Let that sink in. Decades of unchecked spending, and now they expect praise for maybe getting their act together by 2028? That's not a solution, it's an excuse. We pour hundreds of billions into the Pentagon every year, yet they still can't fully track where the money goes. If any other agency or business operated like this, they'd be shut down or dragged into court. But because it's the Pentagon, they get a free pass. Absolutely not.
we face as the United States, threats from China, Russia, and Iran, and I want to ask briefly questions about each. Mr. Chairman, you've said that the Chinese Communist Party is advancing an unprecedented military modernization effort with cutting-edge technologies, including artificial intelligence. Do you agree that the United States military must have more powerful AI capabilities than China?
Well, ma'am, first, thank you also for your service in the Navy. I think LLMs and AI really underpinning all of our command and control capabilities is now and will be in the future a key and essential tool for decision making.
Thank you. I agree that American AI dominance is extremely important.
Yes,
Mr. Hegseth, should American AI dominance be up for negotiation with China in any trade talks that are underway?
Let's be absolutely clear, this isn't just a conversation about technology, it's about power. The US is drawing a firm line when it comes to artificial intelligence, making it clear that military dominance is not up for debate, especially not with China. And it shouldn't be. China is in overdrive, investing billions into AI, autonomous weapons, and smart battlefield systems. If we fall behind, we don't just lose progress, we lose control. The US is right too. Take AI leadership seriously. This isn't something to compromise on, it's a matter of national security. AI means faster decisions, sharper targeting, and defense systems that can outthink enemies in real time. The stakes, nothing less than staying at the top of global military power. So if you think letting China take the lead in AI doesn't matter, it's time to think again.
As the chairman said, we're very focused on AI dominance. It's central to maintaining our cutting edge, and we're doing that.
Good. Well, I hope, will you commit to telling the president not to sacrifice American AI dominance in any of his negotiations with the Chinese?
The president is not surrendering any of our dominance to the Chinese.
Good. I'll take that as a yes, that you'll be advocating for that. Thank you very much. I hope you'll also, you've both spoken to the importance of competition in the defense industrial base. I agree with that deeply. I'd point out that 40% of small businesses have left our defense industrial base supply chain in the past decade, and trade wars that have caused unprecedented uncertainty are going to drive more small businesses out of business. And that's something I hope we can work together to try to prevent, because it's very real in my home state of New Hampshire. Mr. Hegseth, did you order a pause in offensive cyber operations against Russia?
Let's talk about a growing problem that's quietly weakening our national security. In the past 10 years, 40% of small businesses have pulled out of the defense supply chain. Why? Uncertainty, and what's causing it? Trade wars and reckless, politically driven economic decisions that shook supply chains and destroyed stability. These aren't just small shops making basic parts, they're precision manufacturers and innovators who keep our military running. When they disappear, we don't just lose jobs, we lose flexibility, resilience, and the ability to stay ready. Big defense contractors can't do it all. The system relies on thousands of small firms, and without them, it becomes slower, more fragile, and more expensive. Politicians may talk tough on trade while waving the flag, but here's the truth. When small defense suppliers shut down, it's America's military strength that quietly suffers.
I know the story you're referring to, and it's false. We said it then, and I'll say it now.
So it is your testimony that you never ordered a pause in offensive cyber operations against Russia?
We did not.
Okay, let the record reflect that, and we'll be following up on that. I'm going to skip Iran because there's been a lot said in this hearing that has given me grave concern. One of the things that's been said in this hearing, Mr. Hegseth, was I want to give you the opportunity to correct the record and make clear that you will abide by, that you will obey a ruling of the United States Supreme Court.
I don't believe we have any cases pending before the Supreme Court right now.
I want to ask you, will you abide by a ruling, by a decision of the United States Supreme Court if it is issued and you're asked to do so?
What I've said, and I'll repeat, is that district courts should not set the foreign policy of the United States of America.
Mr. Hegseth, this is a fundamental principle of the United States Constitution.
Gentlelady's time's expired. Chair, I recognize the gentleman.
Here's the situation, and it carries serious weight. A top U.S. official just denied that there's been any pause in offensive cyber operations against Russia. If true, that's a relief, but if false, it's a big problem. With Russian cyber attacks on the rise, pulling back now would look like giving up ground. The denial sounds reassuring, but it also raises real concerns. Who's actually steering U.S. cyber policy? Is there disagreement within the national security ranks? What really caught attention was the official's promise to follow a possible Supreme Court ruling hinting at a bigger battle ahead over executive power and cyber warfare oversight. When cyber weapons become part of a legal fight, this goes beyond foreign policy. It's about constitutional limits, operational secrecy, and whether our cyber force is being restrained by politics or protected by law. What's your take? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this video got you thinking, make sure to subscribe. What's coming next is even more intense.